beautiful humans, and welcome to the Mental Wellness Wake Up Show. I am your host, Dawn McMillan, the spiritual psychotherapist, bringing you tips, tools, and techniques from both spirituality and psychology so we can all create lasting well being. Thank you so much for being here. And as is often the case, I've got my co host, Bertram, the little old man dog, snoring away in the background. So, what I wanted to share with you today is about youth. We are so obsessed with youth in this culture and so concerned about aging. In fact, most of the products that are being marketed to me now are called anti aging. And so I thought talking about youth and youthfulness and vitality would be really, really helpful. So I want to share with you a quote from the incredibly beautiful and talented and exquisitely irreverent Ms. Sophia Loren. And she says, "There is a fountain of youth. It is your mind, your talents, the creativity you bring to your life and the lives of people you love. When you learn to tap this source, you will truly have defeated age." Oh, I love that. And when I think about the people in my life who are so vital and so full of this essence of joie de vivre, right? Who just when you're in their presence, you want to use the word youthful because in English we don't have a lot of really good phrases for it. But the sense really is that this is someone who is full of life and vitality. And there's a glow around youthful energy people, regardless of how many years their body has been on the planet. My former husband has a relative who, passed away recently, well into her 80s. And if I were to introduce you to her when she was alive, you would think she's the youngest person that you know. Her energy was always so full of vivaciousness. She was always fully present, fully engaged, interested, curious, dynamic, and with fresh perspectives on things that she encountered in the past and was things that she was learning now. She reminds me of what it means to be youthful. I have another example of someone in their 80s who I would describe as full of vitality and vivaciousness and youthfulness. I had a professor in graduate school who was in his early 80s at the time. And at one point, first of all, he was running all of his businesses. So he was teaching, and then he had this other private business that he was running and doing volunteer work and being really active in the community. And at one point, he thought it would be interesting to learn Swahili. So he did. He learned Swahili, and then he took a trip to go explore the countries in Africa where he could practice his Swahili, made some new friends, and had himself a grand old time. I believe he was 84 at the time. And he is someone who, and I don't want to glorify work for work's sake. What I do want to glorify is this notion of being engaged with life, with meeting new people and new challenges, with remaining curious, with having what the Buddhists call a beginner mind, a beginner's mind. Like, ooh, what's that? What else can I know? Who are you? Tell me everything. That kind of attitude. A third example I want to share is from a young woman, a woman in my Zumba community when I was a Zumba instructor, and she's still at it. At one point, it was her birthday or something came up around age, and she says, "Oh, I don't really want to tell people my age because they get weird about it." I'm like, "Oh, I get that. I have some things in my experience that people sometimes get weird about. Like, I went to Stanford. Some people find that too special or get intimidated by it. Or when people find out that I had an entertainment career and I was on TV, they're like, I'm like, hey, I'm exactly the same person I was before you knew this information. Let's keep moving forward." And so with age, with women especially, people have all kinds of ideas for what age means. It's why in the popular culture you keep getting 50 is the new 30, 70 is the new 40, and all of these ways to try to make it seem like aging and your age doesn't mean what people think it means. Sometimes people will say things to me like, "Oh, you don't look your age." And I get what they're going for, but of course I look my age. I can't look anything other than my age because I am my age and this is how I look. And so with this wonderful human being, at some point or another, it did come out how old she is. And she's, well into her 80s and still does Zumba and is this dynamic and creative and interesting person. And her vitality, at least in the avenue that I knew her, came through like being in a group fitness class pretty much every day. So being active, being involved seems to be a great way to just stay youthful and energetic and vivacious and having that open mind. Like one of the commonalities that all three people that I mentioned to you have is curiosity. Pick was always curious, learning new recipes, meeting new people, throwing parties. Dr. Powers also, like, I'm running this business. I'm going to go on this trip. I'm learning new things, and with Miss Cohen too. Just I'm learning new choreography every week. I'm going to a group fitness class where it's different people, and so staying engaged with the world with an open mind and curiosity is what keeps you from getting old. Age ain't nothing but a number, right? We all know young people, body aged wise, who are old because they're set in their ways and they're small minded and they begin to calcify that way. You see them later on in their years and they have those harsh, pinched faces because they've just been so rigid. Some other people, their rigidity of spirit and of mind starts to show in a rigidity of body. I don't want to go too far with that and overdiagnose that people who have some form of stiffness in their body are being cursed with that because their minds aren't open. I do want to acknowledge that the way that we perceive the world absolutely gets expressed in our bodies. And if you don't believe me, have you seen Sophia Loren throughout her whole life and career? That is a dynamic, charismatic, powerful woman. And yes, beautiful. That's the first thing I said about her. Kind of would like to retract that, but that is kind of what she's known for, even more than her really intensely captivating acting skills. She's primarily known for her beauty. And she says, there's a fountain of youth. It is your mind, your talents, and the creativity you bring. Bring. What are you bringing? Sorry, I had to move over to put my phone down. What are you bringing? Where is your gift? What is that unique point of view that you've acquired from living your life? What's the cool book you read last week? What interesting take do you have on that movie that you watched? What have you learned recently that you didn't know before? Do you have any hobbies? I was talking to my sibling just a little while ago about how some people, when they're not at work, go crazy because they don't have anything to do. I find that mind-boggling. A lot of empty nesters come up across that issue as well. When the kids are gone, we don't have anything to do because our lives are so oriented around our jobs or our, getting our kids from here and there and taking care of them that we don't have very much going on outside of that. So having a hobby, having a curiosity, trying something new, going somewhere new, riding a roller coaster, that's how you stay young. That's how you stay young. And of course, you want to do the basics. You want to drink your water. You want to get your sleep. You want to move your body for at least a half an hour a day. You want to eat lots of different colored plants primarily. Those are the basics. Those are the gimmies. You want to look and feel great. Start with the boring stuff you've heard a million times. It's said a million times because it works. It absolutely works. A good night's sleep, plenty of water, some decent food, and that's a good place to start for whatever ails you. The incomparable Ms. Lena Horne was said to have gotten 12 hours of sleep every day. Like it was such a cliche in the 20th century, the 40s and the 50s. Go to bed, you need your beauty sleep. Well, it's true. And now we live in this culture where we are hustle, hustle, go, go. And most of us are like legitimately haggard all of the time. We're not getting our rest. We're not even getting peace. So even when we're awake doing the things, so many of us are doing it in a state of mind that is so stressful. I was thinking just the other day about anger and how angry so many of us are all of the time. I believe that there is a good, right, and just place for anger, but it is definitely not all of the time. And that anger and that stress and that harried and that push and that hustle is not giving you more and greater vitality. It may be filling your bank account. It may be filling your Instagram feed with things that impress other people, but is it filling your vitality? Is it making you feel more alive no matter how many years your body's been on this planet? So if you really want to stay young, stay curious. Stay curious. I think one of the reasons that people perceive me as being younger than I am, I mean, some of it is just genetics, black don't crack. My mom was gorgeous. My dad was gorgeous. But some of it, I think, is my persona, right? I'm a kind of a goofball. I have a silly way of being in the world. And most people don't perceive silliness and age together. And so when we are our truest selves, when we are engaged with and excited by the world, when we allow ourselves to experience awe and wonder and delight, I kid you not, I believe it is adding years to our lives. There's all this research on telomeres, I think is how they're pronounced. And I don't know enough to speak on it intelligently, but they lengthen, they shorten, something like that. I'm going to say right here, right now, that being full of vitality because you are engaged with the world is lengthening your telomeres and giving you greater health, vitality, and longevity. And I'm going to stand by that. So I really want to just invite you this week and or for the rest of your life if you want to take a moment, and when you're just being you in your day, get curious about what's happening around you. Get curious about, I wonder if I could do this a different way. Get curious about, I wonder who else does things like this. Or I wonder how people in Botswana make their rice when they're having steamed rice and vegetables. Do they steam it? How do they do it? Just to be allow yourself to be curious and engaged. I feel like I'm being really repetitive, but I want to allow it to sink in a way because this message is so counter to the culture that we're in. The culture is hustle, grind, push, prove. And if you look rough, go get some fillers and some Botox and pile on the concealer if you're a woman, and if you're a guy, I don't know what you're supposed to do, not care. Well, what if you got some rest? And I don't want to say there's anything wrong with cosmetic procedures that make you feel better. Big fan. Everyone who wants them and can afford them, have at it. However, are you choosing it because it's truly what you desire and need and want? Or are you defaulting to the cultural narrative because you just didn't realize that there was another path forward? You, beautiful human being that you are, get to be the beautiful human being that you are. And it starts between your ears. Give your gifts, engage with the world, allow yourself to experience awe, delight, and curiosity, and bada boom, bada bing, youthfulness. And with that, please allow me to be the one to remind you that you are whole, perfect, complete, and worthy right here, right now, just as you are. Until next time, thanks for listening. If any part of this pinged with you, I would be so grateful if you could like on whatever platform you're on, especially iTunes. That really makes a big difference. And then share this with at least one other person who might benefit from it. This channel is also on YouTube. So if you prefer to listen to your podcasts on YouTube, I know that sounds weird, but a lot of people do. I, for myself, have found some really great podcasts on YouTube, which is a visual medium, but I digress. Please like, subscribe, and share. It means so much to me. And for those of you who have reached out to me to let me know which episodes have really been meaningful for you and helpful to you, first of all, thank you for listening. Second of all, so grateful. So grateful. You can find me on most of the socials at the Dawn McMillan. All right. Bye.